Hello and welcome to Restore 2022. This is an opportunity for us to be reading God's Word together, to be dwelling on it and growing in our knowledge of who God is, in order that we may live for Him, in order that we may worship Him. Today we are in Gospel of John, chapter 13, as we are approaching the last days of Jesus' life on earth. John's focus zooms in as he gives so much details now to the events for such a short time frame, which is totally different from the long stretches that we saw in chapters 7, 8, 9, 10, and so forth. The opening introduction of chapter 13 serves, so that's verse 1, serves as an open introduction for the next 4 chapters until chapter 17. John gives us so much more detail than the other gospel writers in what Jesus did and said in the upper room. The other gospels give insight that Jesus was washing the disciples' feet on the back of their dispute on who is going to be the greatest. Jesus' realization that his hour had not come yet leads him to prepare the disciples for the days ahead, and he is going to be using an object lesson. Humility and love amid competition and betrayal, they are demonstrated by this reversing of the norm and taking the place of the servant with a basin and a towel in hand. Jesus does this with a full awareness of who he was, where he'd come from, and where he was heading to. In chapter 13, we see John's first reference to himself as the beloved disciple. John was not claiming that Jesus loved him more than the other disciples by describing himself in this way. Rather, the description reveals his appreciation of God's love and grace in the way that he loved him. He focuses the reader's attention on Jesus by omitting his own name. But Judas, on the other hand, accepted Jesus' food, but not his love. Instead of repenting, Judas continued to resist. And the resistance opened way for Satan to take control of him in a stronger way than he'd done previously. And evidently, Satan himself, rather than just one of his demonic assistants, gained control of Judas. We see the contrast of light and darkness again with this interaction with Judas. For John, Jesus is the light of the world, and those who believe in him come to the light. They walk in the light. And the opposite extreme is Judas Iscariot, who rejected Jesus, cast in his lot with the powers of darkness, departed into darkness and was swallowed by it. Judas' departure opens the way for Jesus to prepare his true disciples for what laid ahead for them. And the teaching of the closing verses of John 13 was for committed disciples only. It was exclusive. But one key element of this farewell discourse is not just the teaching and the imparting wisdom which happens normally in those settings. But as we'll see tomorrow in chapter 14, Jesus' promise that he will return again. God bless you and join us tomorrow for chapter 14.